On Friday, the Democratic Alliance wrote to National Assembly Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula requesting that she set up an urgent discussion of national public interest on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The DA has called on the ANC government to use its membership of BRICS to condemn Russia and to call for its immediate withdrawal. Joining us to discuss this further is Darren Bergman, who is the DA spokesperson for international relations. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. For the longer part, South Africa's response was really almost quiet, except really adopting an even-handed approach, calling on both sides to seek peaceful diplomatic solutions to this dispute, up until more recently, where South Africa has now called on Russia to withdraw its forces from Ukraine. And just yesterday, we heard President Cyril Ramaphosa speaking at the National Litigation Forum, speaking about the importance of mediation and calling for mediation in this situation. Let's talk about your call. And do you think that Ramaphosa merely speaking about mediation and advising it publicly is enough?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mpho. You know, the first thing is that we have, as you said, been calling. I mean, this didn't happen yesterday. This is something that's been escalating since 2014 at least, where we've asked DIRCO to use its position, well, SA to use its position in BRICS, to try and get Russia to de-escalate the tension on the eastern borders of Ukraine. And so what we've been asking for then was already to try and get the tensions that were there, that were already building, to to lessen the temperature that was already taking place there. And what you've seen now is the escalation that's taking place now. We've been then calling on for the last few weeks is that South Africa had an opportunity to use its position in BRICS to make a statement. And then, of course, what we've always seen in foreign policy is that the ANC have never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. But I must say that DIRCO came out the other day, and the minister came out the other day with a statement which actually, we agree with, and we appreciate it. This is what we've been calling for the last few press statements that we've released. And then, of course, yesterday, as you've said, our leader, John Steenhuisen, then has called for a debate because we believe that this is of national importance. It would actually have consequences to South Africa if this was to escalate any further. I mean, what you're seeing, the images that we're seeing in Kiev now, this is going to, it has the potential to escalate into something further, which would then have consequences if sanctions are brought about. It could have consequence to the Russian interests in South Africa, to imports and exports, which then has an impact on our economy. And as you know, our economy can't take any further beatings than what it already has.
You would like South Africa to use its BRICS membership to call for a resolution here and condemn Russia's invasion. How much of an impact do you think speaking with or with regards to that platform will have on having the cries and the calls heard by Russia?
Well, this is the time to flex our muscle on BRICS. For a long time, we've asked what we actually bring to BRICS and what type of partners we are in BRICS. There's an opportune time to actually test that. We pay a lot of money to be members of BRICS. We've got exploitive land in BRICS that both Russia and China have found value to, both in South Africa and Africa. Here's an opportune time for us to test those waters. I do find that the President's call for mediation, it's meek at best. What we need to call for is that there has to be guidelines of international practice have to be adhered to. That both countries have to align themselves to international practice. Now, unfortunately, at this point in time, the person that holds the seat of the UN President Council, of the Security Council, is, of course, Vladimir Putin. So you've got the wolf watching the chicken coop at this stage. You know, it's a bit hard to see. It's a bit hard to rely on the UN, who I've got problems with anyway, politically. But at this stage, we do have to push that both countries would adhere to the international laws and standards, and any country that doesn't, you know, you'd ask that all presidents of all countries, all heads of all countries would speak out. And that would include our president and our Minister of International Relations. So not just a call for mediation, that there would be swift and strong action against any country that betrays or, you know, that finds themselves at odds with international law.
In your statement, you speak about the ripple effect on the failure to stop Vladimir Putin. You say that it will be detrimental to world peace. We know that a lot of other countries have also been very vocal, speaking about sanctions. Do you think that those sanctions being imposed will be enough to stop this chaotic situation?
Well, look, sanctions, I believe, was something that should have been done at least 4 or 5 months ago, when we brought this to the attention of our portfolio committee. I mean, this is not something that South Africa could have imposed on Russia, but it was definitely, you know, if the world was watching, if NATO was watching, sanctions was something that should have been done at least 4 or 5 months ago. That was when sanctions should have started. Right now, you're walking a very tight rope between sanctions and hard-hitting action, because the latter can cause World War III. Now, you're dealing with nuclear power here. This leads to then what would be known as World War III. That, unfortunately, then could waken, you know, China and Taiwan. It brings in a whole different dynamic, which you need to worry about. So you don't want to get caught up in the hysteria. You know, you do want to ensure that everything is. There's still room for negotiations. There's still room for getting around the table and talking. But right now, you're seeing scenes in Ukraine. We haven't seen scenes like this in Europe since World War II, where men of the age of 18 are being given arms, and they've been told they're not allowed to leave the country. This means that they're there to sacrifice their lives for their country. You know, this could be potentially the repeat of history from 1937. Just, it's a different scene. You know, it's not Germany and the Sudetenland. It's now Putin and Russia. So this could be the brink of historically a World War III. So it has to be handled correctly. Unfortunately, we must question whether we have the strongest leadership in the West.
In handling the situation correctly, in your statement you make mention of how South Africa should summon the Russian ambassador to South Africa to also speak up and call for this situation to end and immediately stop this military campaign in